Remember that feeling? You know, the anticipation of waiting for an actual physical letter to show up in the mail? It honestly feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? That entire world has been completely turned on its head.
So yeah, let's dive right in. Today, we're unpacking the incredible story of the digital communication revolution. And we're going to see how this technology didn't just tweak how we talk, it completely reshaped how we live.
Okay, so let's start with the big picture here. This wasn't just some minor update. No, this was a massive, fundamental shift that sent ripples through every single part of our society.
You know, it's easy to look back and think this all just happened overnight. But the key word here is slowly. As the source material points out, technology kind of crept into our lives. It was a gradual thing, bit by bit, until we got to a point where, honestly, could you even imagine life without it?
And this really shows you the tension at the beginning. On one side, you had a lot of resistance, folks who just preferred doing things the old way. But on the other side, these new tools were just so convenient, so powerful, they created a whole new style of living that was just impossible to ignore.
And the results of that shift, well, they were absolutely massive. All of a sudden, businesses were running way more efficiently. Information was basically everywhere. Communication went from taking days to being instant. The postman got replaced by the inbox, and the whole idea of working from home went from a dream to a reality for millions of people.
But what was really the engine behind all of this change? Well, that brings us to the two technologies that really kicked everything off: the internet and, of course, email.
So, the internet basically built the highway. Think of it as this giant, sprawling web connecting everything, letting all this information just flow freely. Without that basic network, literally none of the tools we use every single day could even exist.
And if the internet was the highway, then email was the first killer app. It was the first car that everybody wanted to drive. It took this super familiar idea, sending a letter, and made it electronic, instant, and pretty much free.
And just look at how simple it was. You log on, you pick who you're sending it to, you write your message, and you hit send. This four-step process seems so obvious to us now, but back then, it was a total game changer. It just wiped out the need for stamps, envelopes, and waiting around for days and days for a reply.
And this is exactly why it took over so fast. For one, it was the absolute quickest way to send a message, period. Plus, it automatically created a written record of everything, which was huge for businesses. And on top of that, compared to a paper letter that anyone could potentially open, it felt incredibly private and secure.
But, communication didn't just stop with one-on-one messages. The next phase of this whole revolution turned communication into a kind of public performance, creating a brand new digital public square.
So, first up in this new era were blogs. For the very first time, pretty much anyone with an internet connection could become their own publisher. You could share your thoughts, your expertise, your daily life with the entire world, all neatly organized with your latest entry right at the top. But this new power came with a trade-off, a bargain, really. On one hand, it was this amazing outlet for creativity, and hey, you could even make some money from it. But on the other hand, it threw the doors wide open for misinformation, it could be super addictive, and doing it well took a huge amount of time. And this idea of a trade-off, it's going to be a major theme.
And that, of course, brings us to the next massive leap: social media. This formal definition on the screen really gets to the heart of it. The key phrase you got to focus on is user-generated content. This wasn't about one person publishing to many anymore. This was about everyone creating and sharing and exchanging content all at the same time.
And this new world, it splintered really fast. You had Facebook, which was all about connecting with people you already knew, but that came with some serious privacy risks. Then there was Twitter, for these short, public blasts of information. And of course, Instagram, which made communication almost purely visual. And that brought its own set of problems, like addiction. Let's zoom in on Facebook for a second. The source material calls it a digital living room, a comfy spot to catch up with friends. But it very quickly became way more than that. It turned into this powerful engine for business, for advertising, and even for political movements. Instagram, though, it leaned hard into the power of the image. Its simplicity was genius. It became this hub for visual creativity, and that focus on how things look opened up massive opportunities for brands and online shopping, completely changing the game for modern marketing.
But here's the thing. Across all these different platforms, a really common set of problems started to pop up. All this connection created new dangers. Cyberbullying found a brand new playground.
fraud and identity theft got way easier. And the platforms themselves were often designed to be addictive, all while they were collecting our personal data.
So, where does all this leave us today? Well, we are living right in the middle of the consequences of this revolution. And our new reality is, without a doubt, a double-edged sword.
This chart really sums it all up, doesn't it? I mean, look, a huge part of our new reality is this incredible connection and instant access to information. But all that good stuff comes at a cost, with big chunks of the experience defined by the risk of addiction and some really serious privacy concerns. It's a constant trade-off we're all making.
And this all creates a really fascinating paradox. On one hand, these tools have given us the power to connect with someone on the complete other side of the planet in a split second.
And yet, the source material warns that this exact same technology can create more physical distance in our real lives. And it might even be shrinking our circle of truly close friends. It's like you can have thousands of friends online, but actually feel more alone than ever.
And this just shows that we're all still trying to figure this new world out. In an age of instant hot-take reactions, the source notes that some people are actually going back to slower tools like email. Why? Because it gives them a chance to actually think, to articulate themselves better.
Which leaves us with the big, final question. We have more ways to communicate than at any other point in human history. We are more connected, more informed, and more accessible than ever before. But when you step back and look at the whole picture, have these tools actually deepened our human connections, or have they, in a weird way, just pushed us further apart? That's definitely something to think about.